The world's two biggest economies are once again locking horns, and this time the gloves are off. Massive tariffs, open threats, retaliation, and caught in the middle, India. Will we suffer collateral damage or seize a rare global opening? Let's break it down. On Monday, US President Donald Trump doubled down on his trade war against China. He issued a fresh threat, an additional 50% tariff on Chinese imports. That's on top of an already steep 34% tariff he announced during a Liberation Day event at the White House. Add in the global 10% base tariff, and that brings China's total tariff burden to a staggering 104%. Trump took to his Truth Social platform to say, and I quote, "If China does not withdraw its 34% increase by April 8, the US will impose additional tariffs effective April 9, and all talks with China will be terminated." End quote. Trump insists this is America's only chance to reset the table, claiming no other president would have the will to do this. In response, China has gone into full battle mode. China's Ministry of Commerce issued a fiery statement. It called the US tariffs completely groundless and accused Washington of unilateral bullying. They said the countermeasures are legitimate, meant to protect China's sovereignty and maintain global trade order. Their warning, and I quote, "If the US insists on its own way, China will fight to the end quote. And fight they might. China, the world's second largest economy, has already imposed retaliatory tariffs and hinted that more are on the way. But there is a bigger ripple effect to watch here. Higher tariffs could push China to offload its surplus goods into other markets, driving down global prices and seeking deeper trade ties with regions like the EU. That could reshape global trade dynamics, and for India, the stakes are high. At first glance, it might look like India has little to do with the US-China tug-of-war, but scratch the surface and the risks become real and immediate. According to experts quoted by LiveMint, India could feel the shockwaves in multiple sectors. Electronics and appliances. Most of our smartphones, laptops, and home appliances contain parts imported from China. If the trade war leads to global disruptions or shortages, prices in India could rise. Indian manufacturers dependent on Chinese components might struggle with supply chains, and those added costs could hit consumers. Pharmaceuticals. India's pharma sector also relies heavily on raw materials from China. If imports slow down or become costlier, medicine prices may spike, impacting both domestic healthcare and exports. Auto sector. India's automobile industry depends on China for spare parts and critical components. Disruptions here could lead to slower production, higher vehicle prices, and longer delivery timelines. Gems, jewelry, and textiles. According to Ernst & Young, India's labor-intensive sectors like gems, jewelry, and textiles may take a hit. Millions work in these industries. If global demand slows or Chinese goods flood the market, India's exports may suffer. There is another concern: dumping. Nilesh Shah, a veteran fund manager, warned that India may become a dumping ground for cheaper Chinese goods. As China looks to offload its excess production, developing markets like India could be flooded with underpriced goods, hurting local industries. Akash Prakash of Amansa Capital puts it bluntly: the global south accounts for 20% of global consumption, and it's where China will try to sell. Some experts believe opportunity could be hiding in the chaos. Amitendu Palit, a senior research fellow at the National University of Singapore, told CNBC that the trade war might create space for India to step up. If global buyers start looking beyond China, India could position itself as a reliable alternative in manufacturing, in exports, and in trade diplomacy. But that will depend on how quickly India can scale up, build infrastructure, and navigate global supply chains. The US-China war is no longer just a bilateral fight. It's a high-stakes gamble with global consequences, and India, a rising economic power, deeply integrated into global supply chains, can't afford to sit on the sidelines. Will we get caught in the crossfire or find a moment in the spotlight? The next few months will reveal which way the tide turns.